sure wanted to talk to you about wheat today. I was checking it, and one of the things that occurred to me is something that I had always known, but that had been spiritualized for me this morning. And that is when the wheat comes out of the body of the plant. Let me find one because there's still some coming out. Even he's a little old, but look at his color. He's green. Let me see if I can find a greener one. Maybe he's greener. Yeah, he's green, but he's still not as green as when they first come out. I don't think I have any that are super young at this point. Maybe, nope. But they are green, just green, 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 green. But what happens with wheat is it's born in the heat of the season. It's not like barley. It's not like barley. Barley comes out while it's still raining, while it's still cool. It's going to develop regardless of the conditions around it. We saw this year that we had barley that was basically a beeb pretty much during the last snow we had on Mount Hermon. But what happens with wheat is it is born immediately after the barley is ready to declare the omer. And when that happens, normally the heat of the land has already begun to kick up, or it will kick up pretty heat. Soon as this, as they say, comes out of the boot or comes out of the head of the plant, this blooms. Within just 2 to 3 days, this plant blooms. Then what happens is the green starts fading, and we start picking up the beautiful color that it's going to be, which is black. So the wheat tells us when it is mature and when the grains are developing on the inside. The barley doesn't tell us. The barley doesn't tell us until it's too late of the grain, because that was the offering, was the grain. It wasn't the head. It was ground barley meal topped with olive oil and frankincense. So the barley is the condition of the head that has to be examined internally. The wheat, however, which represents the word of God, unless a grain of wheat or unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it abideth alone, but if it dies, it brings forth many. Yeshua was speaking of himself. The wheat represents the word of God, and the word of God within us. If you watch the last teaching, I showed how this wheat has one kernel on the top position on the head of the body. Yeshua is the head, we are the body, and how each section after the head comes off the body in pairs. He's made of so this represents the Word of God. And if you didn't see the teaching from last Sunday, the mystery from the foundation, you should watch it after watching this. But wheat tells when the kernels are mature and ready for harvest because it turns black. Song of Solomon talks about the Shulamite woman. She's black but comely. Ezekiel says he'll take the stick of Ephraim and Judah and make them one in his hand. And I go over all of that from the teaching on Saturday that I posted yesterday, which is Sunday. But my question to you is, as wheat, as those who carry the seed of Yeshua, is the Word of God changing you from the inside out so that the world can see a visible difference in your life? Look, its head's bowed down because the weight of the grains that are developing inside are pulling its face down. Shavua Tov.